with acknowledging of that role he has as chair of the Presidential Consultative Forum. Their program, we're going back to regular programming now. Our programs say that we should get into the reports. And I do know that some of you still want hard copies. In my home language, they will say, Tariatide. So we don't have the hard copies anymore. We can only get the soft copies that you can scan in the interim. Please do bear with us in that particular regard. The program says that we're going to get into the reports now, starting with the report of the chairperson, Umama Duduzekile Mapumulo. Can I ask that we all stand, give our chairperson the respect that she deserves as we also sing and welcome Uslalo. Okay, the chairperson says we'll sing later. Time is gone.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. Program Director, President Abner Rebe, in his absentia, members of SANTACO National Leadership, members of outgoing SANTACO Women National Executive Committee, provincial chairpersons, and provincial executive committees, delegates from our provinces and affiliate sectors, members of the election committee, EISA and independent electoral officials, distinguished guests, partners, observers, and all the women leaders present. You'll have to excuse me. It's been a long walk from where we started and where we are. Obviously, my report is not going to be short, but I'll try and speed up so that we can. I might not waste much of time. It is an honor and a privilege to stand before you today and present this chairperson's address at the SANTACO Women National Executive Elective Conference 2026. Today is a historic day. I think we all remember that this is the first time we have such conference. In 2016, when we did the conference, it was very much different. But this is the first of its kind that we are doing. It is a day of reflection. It is a day of accountability. It is a day of renewal. It is a day of leadership transition. It is a day where women in the taxi industry must look back with honesty, look forward with courage, and recommit themselves to transformation of this industry. This conference is not only about electing leadership, it is about the future of SANTACO women. It is about the role of women in the taxi industry. It is about whether we are ready to move from recognition to real influence, from participation to leadership, and from promises to implementation. The 2022 to 2026 term has been a defining and fundamental period in the journey of SANTACO women. It was a term marked by resilience, sacrifice, institutional growth, advocacy, and the continued struggle for meaningful inclusion and recognition of women within the taxi industry. As a chairperson, I stand here today with humility and gratitude. I do not stand here to say that everything has been achieved. I stand here to say that is a foundation has been laid, a voice has been strengthened, a structure has been defended, a policy direction has been shaped, a national women agenda has been placed firmly on the table, a dream has been carried forward. When we began this journey, we knew that the road will not be easy. We understood that SANTACO Women was operating in an industry that has historically been male-dominated, complex, competitive, and at times resistant to change. We also understood that women in this industry were not starting from a position of equal access, equal resources, or equal representation. But we also knew one thing: women were already carrying this industry. Women were operating taxis, women were managing transport businesses, women were inheriting operations after the passing of spouses and parents. Women were supporting associations. Women were raising families from the income of this industry. Women were serving communities. Women were keeping household and business alive. Yet, despite this contribution, many women remain outside the centers of decision making. That is why SANTACO Women Matters. SANTACO Women exists because women must not only be seen during conference. Women must be heard in boardrooms, in associations, in regions, in provinces, in national structures, and in every space where decisions are made about the future of this industry. The reality that we faced, colleagues, we must be honest about the environmental in which we have worked. During this term, we faced serious challenges. One of the greatest challenges was the continued underrepresentation of women in the leadership structures. Many years ago, SANTACO adopted a progressive resolution supporting 30% representation of women within leadership structures. Yet, 2 decades later, women representation in many of the highest structures remain far below that commitment. The report notes that representation in many of these highest structures remains below 3%, with many women continuing to serve through co-option rather than through democratic election or constitutionally protected participation. This reality tells us that our struggle is not imaginary, it is real. Women are present but not always recognized. Women are active but not always elected. Women contribute but are not always included. Women carry responsibilities but are not always given authority. Another serious challenge was absence of a dedication and a ring-fenced budget for SANTACO women programs. This remained one of the most significant constraints during the term under review. Provincial and national women structures often relied on voluntary contribution, local support and personal sacrifices by women leaders to sustain activities and organizational coordination. This meant that many of our programs had to be carried by passion rather than resources. Women travel without proper budgets. Women organized meetings without proper funding. Women mobilized community with limited support. Women sustained structures through sacrifices. We must salute every woman who kept this structure alive under those conditions. We also faced governance and constitutional challenges. In some provinces, women structures experienced difficulties in convening meetings, implementing programs, and mobilizing women leadership due to limited resources and ongoing debates regarding the constitutional status of women's structures. And this has been one of the challenges that we've been having. SANTACO is having the constitution, but the constitution is not speaking about us women. Also, SANTACO take the resolution in their conference in 2006 where they said that there must be a women desk. But since then, there haven't been any way forward. Although they have given us the policy document that we had to work on, and we had to work that we had to make that document to talk to us, but there is still a long journey to go. These challenges taught us one important lesson: without institutional recognition, without proper governance, and without dedicated resources, women empowerment remains vulnerable. That is why this conference is so important. Strategic success of the term. Despite the challenges, we must also tell the truth about our achievements. This term was not a term of failure. It was a term of building. We strengthened a national footprint of SANTACO women. We ensured that women were not silent in national conversation. We positioned SANTACO women as a serious structure within the broader transformation agenda of SANTACO. We reviewed and advanced the SANTACO women policy. This was a major governance milestone because policy gives structures to our existence, clarifies our mandate, confirms our leadership structures, and guides women how women must participate in national, provincial, regional, and local level. The amended policy recognizes SANTACO women as a dedicated platform for women operators within SANTACO and affiliated structures, established to organize, support, and empower women through structured participation, advocacy, and entrepreneurship development. We convened the inaugural Women AGM, which created a historic platform for women operators, entrepreneurs, and leaders to engage on matters of governance, representation, economic empowerment, and institutional reform. The AGM strengthened the visibility and legitimacy of women structures within SANTACO and laid the foundation for broader constitutional recognition. We participated meaningfully in the 2024 SANTACO National Policy Conference. Women did not attend as spectators. Women contributed to policy discussion and on governance reforms, transformation, leadership representation, and industry modernization. This was a breakthrough for gender inclusion within the taxi industry. We advanced governance and electoral framework discussions. This is important because women leadership must be elected, credible, structured, and accountability. We cannot demand recognition without also building a system of governance, reporting, election management, and compliance. We supported the participated in gender-based violence awareness activities in various provinces. This work is important because women empowerment cannot exist without women's safety. A woman cannot lead freely where she is unsafe. A woman cannot participate fully where she is intimidated, harassed, or discriminated against. We played a role in the National Prayer Day where SANTACO women helped promote unity, healing, moral renewal, and social cohesion within the tax industry. That program reminded the industry that women are not only leaders in business, women are also custodians of peace, compassion, and community stability. We advanced economic empowerment discussion and initiatives. Projects such as Queen's Auto Space and the Ugu Upholstery Factory pilot project were introduced as a strategic idea aimed at placing women within the tax industry value chain. These initiatives represent a shift from symbolic participation to meaningful economic inclusion. We also began discussion around the SANTACO Women Fund, which is intended to support women-owned enterprises, cooperatives, and developmental initiatives within the sector. One of the challenges that we experience, most of the provinces, women is not funded because whenever they're looking at the constitution of SANTACO, there's nothing that speaks to us as women. Hence, we had to make sure that the policy is actually talking to those issues. And also we written several times to the Secretary General of SANTACO because we wanted to ensure that the Constitution of SANTACO does speak to women in SANTACO. We strengthened partnership and capacity building conversation with stakeholders such as TITA and other institutions with the focus of governance, leadership, financial literacy, compliance, road safety, and entrepreneurship. These are strategic success that might not yet be perfect. They may not yet be fully funded. They may not yet have reached every woman in every region, but they show direction. They show movement. They show SANTACO women is no longer only speaking about empowerment. It is beginning to build the machinery for empowerment. What this structure has done, this structure has given women a voice. I know that we all understand the objectives of SANTACO, why the women desk was formed. It was because there were no platform where women would be heard. So they created this platform so that they can be able to attend or to hear what are the challenges for women that are experiencing in the tax industry. And at that time, it was even worse because some they had to sleep with others just to get their operating license processed, because that was back then in 2006. So now we can see that it's starting to get better. It's not that much, but still we're still struggling with one of those things. It has created a platform where women can discuss their challenges, organize themselves, raise policy issues, engage leadership, and participate in the broader transformation agenda of SANTACO. This structure has defended the idea that women belong in this industry. It has reminded SANTACO that women are not an odd or add-on. Women are part of the organization. Women are part of the economy. Women are part of the transport value chain. Women are part of the future. This structure has carried difficult conversation. The biggest challenge that you will come across, you may never understand the dynamics within the leadership of SANTACO, but you'll experience the fact that things get to be done differently at all times. You'll find that people, they will start questioning things that you are saying because they don't trust what you are saying, because it can come back and say, the leadership can come back and say the other things that you did not said to women. There's been a lot of challenging in terms of that, and it becomes very, very difficult for women to go forward, because each and every time when you have your own way that you have crafted, but you get blocked in a process to say no, but you can't do this because this is how it needs to be done. This structure has carried difficult conversation. We have spoken about representation. We have spoken about constitutional recognition. We have spoken about budget. We have spoken about economic exclusion. We have spoken about women's safety. We have spoken about leadership development, and we have spoken about youth and disability inclusion. We have spoken about the need for women to move from the margin to the center. This structure has also helped to expose the gaps between policy commitments and practical implementation. It is one thing to say women must be empowered. It is another thing to budget for women empowerment. We as the national structure, we are the one that has struggled a lot in terms of the budget, because we have never had any budget from the national. Even the budget that was given to us by the President of South Africa for us to run with the GPV campaign, it has never reached us for 4 years. It is okay. It is another thing to budget for women empowerment. I was actually relating to that. It is one thing to say women must lead. It is another thing to reserve space for women in decision-making structures. It is one thing to say women matters. It is another thing to build a system that proves women matters. Our work has been to push SANTACO women from word to action. And I believe we have started that work. The dream that I carried, when I think about the dream I had for SANTACO women, I do not think only about the positions. I dreamed of a SANTACO women structure that would be recognized, respected, and resourced. I dreamed of a structure where women from all 9 provinces could participate meaningfully, not only when there is a conference, but throughout the year. I dreamt of a structure where every province will have functional women leadership, proper reporting system, regular meetings, and clear programs. I dreamed of a structure where young women would not be afraid to enter the taxi industry, because they would see other women leading with confidence. I dreamt of a structure where widows, daughters, and women's operators will receive support, guidance, and mentorship when they enter this industry. I dreamt of a structure where women would not only inherit taxis business, but would also grow them, professionalize them, and expand them. I dreamt of a structure where women would have access to opportunities in space, upholstery, vehicle maintenance, training, scholar transport, meter taxi, hailing, tourism, logistic, cleaning services, fuel technology, and transport infrastructure. I dreamt of a structure where SANTACO women will have its own annual program of action, its own budget, its own partnership, and its own measurable outcomes. I dreamt of a structure where women would be trained not only to attend meetings, but to chair meetings, manage finances, negotiate contracts, resolve disputes, understand compliance, and lead association. I dreamt of a structure that would be a home for women in the industry, a home where women are protected, a home where women are developed, a home where women are heard, a home where women are not judged for being ambitious, a home where women do not have to apologize for wanting to lead. That dream has not yet been fully achieved, but today I can say the foundation has been laid. And if trusted again, I'm ready to continue building on that foundation with the same commitment, discipline, and love for this structure. Why continuity matters? Colleagues, this is a fundamental term. When a foundation has been laid, the next task is not to abandon the building site. The next task is to continue building. We have started important work that now requires continuity, stability, and implementation. The policy work must be completed and operationalized. The governance reforms must be followed through. The provincial structures must be fully strengthened. The outstanding provinces must be brought into compliance. The economic empowerment projects must move from concept to implementation. The SANTACO Women Fund must be advanced. The partnership must be converted into real programs. The budget question must be pursued until women programs are properly funded. The leadership development agenda must reach women in regions and associations. This is why continuity is important. Not continuity for the sake of one person, not continuity for the sake of comfort, but continuity for the sake of implementation. We cannot afford to lose momentum. We cannot afford to restart every 4 years. We cannot afford to build a foundation and then leave it unfinished. The next term must be the term of implementation. The next term must be the term where the foundation becomes a house. The next term must be the term where policy becomes programs. The next term must be the term where advocacy becomes budget. The next term must be the term where recognition becomes representation. The next term must be the term where women empowerment becomes visible in the lives of ordinary women operators. That is the journey I believe SANTACO women must take now. Strategic priorities for the next term. As this conference prepares to elect leadership, we must be clear about the strategic priorities for the next term. The first priority must be the constitutional recognition and governance reform. SANTACO women must be formally recognized within the SANTACO Constitution with clear governance powers, representation, rights, leadership structures, reporting obligations, and budgeting provision. The report recommends that reserved presentation for women within key governance structures should be institutionalized to ensure meaningful participation in decision making. The second priority must be financial sustainability and dedicated budgeting. We cannot build a national women's structure through donations and personal sacrifices alone. The incoming leadership must advocate for ring-fenced national and provincial budgets. It must also strengthen partnership with government, development finance institution, SITAs, training institution, and private sector partners. The third priority must be strengthening provincial, regional, and local structures. A national structure is only as strong as its provinces, regions, and associations. The incoming leadership must make sure that all provinces are functional, properly elected, compliant, trained, supported. The fourth priority must be the leadership development and capacity building. Women must be trained in governance, leadership, entrepreneurship, financial management, safety compliance, conflict resolution, public speaking, negotiation, and business management. The fifth priority must be economic empowerment and value chain participation. Women must not be limited to operating taxes only. Women must participate in the fully taxi economy, including spares, parts, maintenance, upholstery, fuel, logistic training, tourism, scholar, and infrastructure opportunities. The sixth priority must be youth, disability, and inclusive participation. SANTACO women must create a space for young women and women living with disability. Transformation cannot be complete if it is excluded the next generation or those who already face additional barriers. The seventh priority must be gender advocacy and social transformation. We must strengthen programs against gender-based violence, discrimination, harassment, and abuse. We must build a culture where women are safe, respected, and protected within the tax industry. The eighth priority must be monitoring, accountability, and implementation. The incoming leadership must establish clear performance system, annual reviews, provincial report programs, tracking, and accountability mechanism must become part of how SANTACO Women operates. A message now to delegates. To the delegates, I say this is your conference, this is your mandate, this is your moment to decide the direction of SANTACO Women. Vote with wisdom. Do not vote only for friendship. Do not vote only for popularity. Do not vote only for promises. Vote for capacity. Vote for discipline. Vote for integrity. Vote for proven commitment. Vote for women who will work. Vote for leaders who understand governance. Vote for leaders who will unite the structures. Vote for leaders who will carry the programs of SANTACO Women Empowerment beyond the conference. This election must not divide us. Contestation is part of the democracy, but unity must remain our destination. As after the results are announced, we must come back together as one SANTACO Women. Those who win must lead with humility. Those who do not win must continue to serve with dignity. Those who supported different candidates must remember that the organization is bigger than all of us. Governance and electoral discipline. This conference must be conducted in a manner that protects the integrity of SANTACO Women. The election process is guided by the SANTACO Women Governance Framework and the SANTACO Election Working Document and the SANTACO Women Policy Framework. The SANTACO Women Policy provides the elections must be democratic, transparent, free and fair, and that all voting must be conducted by secret ballot. It is further provides that the Electoral Committee must oversee nomination and voting, ensure compliance, resolve disputes, and declare or certify election results. We therefore call on all delegates, candidates, and observers to respect the Election Committee and EISA. No intimidation, no disruption, no interference with voting, no undermining of the process. If there are disputes, they must be raised through the proper channels and recorded in writing. A credible election gives birth to credible leadership. Closing reflection. As I conclude, I want to say that serving SANTACO Women has been a responsibility I have carried with seriousness and love. It has not always been easy. There were moments of frustration. There were moments of limited resources. There were moments where the road felt long, but there were also moments of hope, courage, and pride. Every time I saw women gathered, I saw possibility. Every time I saw women speak, I had power. Every time I saw women organize, I saw the future. Every time I saw women refuse to give up, I knew this structure was necessary. SANTACO Women is not just a program. SANTACO Women is a movement of women who are determined to transform the tax industry. The foundation has been laid. Now we must build, we must implement, we must take this structure to the next level. Let this conference be remembered as a conference that moved SANTACO Women from foundation to implementation. Let it be remembered as the conference that affirmed women's leadership. Let it be remembered as the conference that said must no longer wait outside the door of decision making. Let it be remembered as the conference that declared women ready, women are capable, women are organized, and women will lead. The future sustainability and transformation of this taxi industry cannot be realized without the meaningful participation, empowerment, and the leadership of women. When women lead, industry transform. When women are empowered, communities prosper. When women are organized, the future becomes stronger. I thank you. Viva Ndawote, viva!
So I've taken my shoes off. Well, I'm from Limpopo. It shouldn't confirm anything, but I grew up in the villages. So when I am very much in the mood of work, I take my shoes off. I hope that it doesn't offend anyone. Okay, we are going to get into the Secretary's report. The Chairperson's report in its nature is only but to give a feedback of the work that's being done, and I think the Chair Lady has done exactly that sufficiently. We should give her another round of applause. Also echoing the sentiment that we started this engagement with when we said that we're going to have to get into the tax industry because there's no tax industry without women. When you hear of the challenges that this administration has faced, and yet we're here and there's reports of some undertakings, then it tells you that women really do go through the most, but that they push forth nonetheless. Okay, we're going to get into the Secretary's report. The Secretary is already here because we're saving time. Let's give her a nice round of applause. Memongalo.
Thank you, Program Director. Oh, we are behind time. And even the legs, we can feel the legs are hanging. So this is the time for us to hear the Secretary's report. Introduction. This report gives an overview of progress made by SANTACOWD women since our last engagement and outlines key developments and highlights aligned to the SANTACOWD Women Strategy 2022 to 2025. It also serves to guide the discussions and provincial reports scheduled during the AGM. This conference is an opportunity to share our achievements, learn from each other, and assign on the future. Each province will give an update on its work, guided by our 5 strategic pillars: financial management, programs and capacity building, re-establishment, women empowerment, and sustainability. Key achievements and organizational impact. The reporting term for SANTACOWD women marked a significant milestone in advancing the participation, recognition, and empowerment of women within the tax industry. Despite structural and financial challenges, the organization made meaningful progress in establishing a national women's platform aligned to the broader transformation agenda of SANTACOWD. The period under review reflected growing institutional recognition of women as strategic contributors to the development and sustainability of the public transport sector. Strengthening women leadership and representation in inaugural Women AGM. One of the most notable achievements during the reporting period was the successful mobilization and participation of women from all 9 provinces in national governance process and strategic engagements. The inaugural AGM created historic platform for women operators, entrepreneurs, and leaders to engage on matters relating to governance, representation, economic empowerment, and institutional reform. This strengthened the visibility and legitimacy of women's structures within SANTACO and laid the foundation for broader constitutional recognition. The participation of women in the 2024 SANTACO National Policy Conference further represented a major breakthrough for gender inclusion within the taxi industry. Women delegates actively contributed to policy discussions relating to governance, reform, transformation, leadership representation, and industry modernization. This participation reinforced the growing commitment towards building a more inclusive and representative organization. State of provinces, affiliate participation, and electoral readiness. As part of the Secretary report, it is important to provide an account of the state of provincial structures and their readiness to participate in the SANTACO Women National Elective Conference 2026. During the reporting period, SANTACO women continued to work towards strengthening provincial structures and ensuring that women leadership is properly established across 9 provinces. This process formed part of the broader institutional development agenda of SANTACO women, which seeks to promote democratic participation, accountability, representation, and constitutional compliance within women's structures. At the time of this report, 6 of the 9 provinces have successfully convened their provincial elective processes and elected provincial women leadership structures. These provinces are therefore considered to be in good standing for purposes of participation at the National Elective Conference and are eligible to send accredited voting delegates. The successful sitting of these provincial elective processes represents a significant milestone in the consolidation of SANTACO women. It confirms that progress has been made in building legitimate provincial leadership structures, strengthening democratic governance, and improving the participation of women in organizational decision-making. The provinces that have not yet successfully concluded their provincial elective conferences are as follows: Western Cape, Free State, and Eastern Cape. In line with the adopted governance and electoral framework, these provinces will not participate as voting delegates at the 2026 National Elective Conference until their provincial electoral processes have been concluded in accordance with organizational requirements. This approach is necessary to protect the integrity of the conference and ensure that all voting delegates are properly elected, mandated, and accredited. The conference also reflects the growing integration and participation of affiliate sectors within SANTACO women structures. The following affiliate sectors will participate through accredited voting delegates: cross-border transport, metered taxi, e-hailing, scholar transport. In alignment with the broader national governance framework of SANTACO, these affiliate structures shall be co-opted into the incoming National Executive Committee. This will ensure broader sector representation, inclusivity, and meaningful participation within women leadership structures. Once the outstanding provincial elective processes have been finalized, the incoming National Executive Committee will also make provision for the co-option of women representatives from those provinces to ensure national inclusivity and balanced provincial representation. The elections are conducted in terms of Santaco Women Policy Framework, aligned with the Santaco Constitution and the Santaco Elections Working Document adopted in 2017. These governance instruments provide the framework for eligibility, nominations, voting procedures, leadership accountability, representation, and dispute resolution. The existing conference report also confirms the importance of strengthening governance and electoral frameworks as part of Santaco Women institutional development. To protect the integrity and credibility of the electoral process, an elections committee has been established to oversee and manage the conference electoral proceedings. The elections committee is supported by an independent electoral body to ensure that the elections are conducted in a free, fair, transparent, and constitutionally compliant manner. The 2026 National Elective Conference therefore represents more than a leadership renewal process. It is a critical governance milestone in advancing the institutionalization, legitimacy, democratic participation, and long-term sustainability of Santaco Women nationally. Through this conference, Santaco Women reaffirms its commitment to inclusive leadership, accountable governance, women empowerment, constitutional compliance, and the continued transformation of the taxi industry. The outcomes of this conference must strengthen unity, deepen representation, and provide a clear mandate for the incoming leadership to build a more professional, inclusive, and sustainable women structure across all the levels in Santaco. Santaco Women played a significant leadership and coordinating role as conveners of the National Prayer Day, an initiative aimed at promoting unity, healing, moral renewal, and social cohesion within the taxi industry and the broader public transport sector. The involvement of women in convening this important program reflected the growing recognition of their role not only as leaders within the industry, but also as custodians of social stability, community values, and organizational unity. The National Prayer Day created a platform for operators, drivers, leadership structures, government representatives, and stakeholders to come together in prayer and reflection on the challenges affecting the industry, including violence, division, road fatalities, gender-based violence, and socio-economic hardships. Through this initiative, Santaco Women demonstrated leadership in advancing peace, unity, compassion, and collective responsibility within the taxi industry, while reinforcing the importance of ethical leadership, discipline, and human dignity as part of the broader transformation agenda of SANTACO. The development of governance and electoral frameworks. Significant progress was made towards formalizing governance and electoral processes for SANTACO women structures. During the reporting period, women engaged extensively on constitutional gaps relating to women's representation and the absence of formal recognition of women structures within the SANTACO Constitution. This led to recommendations for constitutional amendments aimed at institutionalizing women representation across governance structures. In addition, an election framework document was developed to guide future elections at national, provincial, and regional levels. The framework introduced proposed guidelines on nominations, voting procedures, oversight mechanisms, dispute resolutions, and leadership accountability. These developments represented an important step towards democratic renewal, constitutional compliance, and transparent governance within SANTACO women. Advancement of women economic empowerment initiatives. The reporting period also saw the advancement of several economic empowerment initiatives aimed at increasing women participation within the transport value chain. Business concepts such as Queen's Auto Spares and Upholstery Factory pilot project in the Ugu region were introduced as strategic projects intended to create sustainable economic opportunities for women in the taxi industry. Furthermore, work commenced towards the establishment of the SANTACO Women Fund, which seeks to support women-owned enterprises, cooperatives, and developmental initiatives within the sector. These projects demonstrated a strategic shift from symbolic participation towards meaningful economic inclusion and entrepreneurship development, strategic partnerships, and capacity building. SANTACO Women strengthened collaboration with strategic stakeholders and institutions to support leadership development, training, and empowerment programs. Partnerships with organizations such as TITA created opportunities for women-focused training initiatives in areas including governance, leadership, financial literacy, compliance, road safety, and entrepreneurship. Women further resolved that provinces should prioritize training and mentorship programs aimed at preparing women for leadership positions within associations, regional structures, and broader SANTACO governance structures. These interventions are intended to build institutional capacity and support long-term sustainability of women leadership within the industry. Institutional reform and policy development. The inaugural AGM highlighted the urgent need for alignment between policy commitments and constitutional recognition of women's structures. As a result, delegates adopted several recommendations aimed at strengthening institutional reform, including the formal recognition of SANTACO women with the Constitution, the allocation of reserved representation seats, and the establishment of dedicated governance and budgeting mechanism. The development of Santaco Women Policy also represented a major institutional milestone. The policy provides a framework for advancing gender equality, promoting inclusive participation, and guiding the operational and governance responsibilities of women structures across all levels of organization. These are just the pictures you can go check at home. We're about to finish. Policy Conference resolutions on gender, youth, and people living with disabilities. In 2024, Santaco Policy Conference recognized that sustainable transformation within the taxi industry requires deliberate policies, constitutional reform, leadership development, and economic empowerment programs aimed at historically marginalized groups. Gender inclusion and women empowerment. The conference resolved that gender inclusion must become a strategic pillar of Santaco's governance, policy development, and institutional reform processes. Delegates acknowledge that women continue to face barriers relating to representation, economic participation, leadership opportunities, and access to empowerment initiatives within the taxi industry. The conference therefore resolved that Santaco must prioritize the formal recognition and strengthening of women's structures across all organizational levels. The conference further resolved that women must be afforded greater participation in governance and decision-making structures. Constitutional amendments should be pursued to strengthen gender representation within Santaco structures. Policies promoting women empowerment, leadership development, and entrepreneurship should be developed and implemented. The organization must promote zero tolerance towards gender-based violence, harassment, discrimination, and abuse within the industry. Economic empowerment opportunities for women should be expanded through participation in transport-related value chains, cooperatives, business initiatives, and strategic partnerships. Dedicated programs should be introduced to improve training, financial literacy, governance skills, and leadership development for women operators and leaders. The conference also acknowledged the important role played by Santaco women in advancing transformation, unity, and economic empowerment within the sector, and reaffirmed support for the institutional strengthening of women's structures nationally and provincially. Youth inclusion and leadership development. The conference recognized youth as a critical component of the future sustainability and transformation of the taxi industry. Delegates raised concerns regarding limited youth participation in leadership, innovation, technology, and strategic decision-making processes within the sector. The conference therefore resolved that deliberate interventions must be introduced to attract, empower, and develop young people within the industry. Key resolutions included the establishment and strengthening of youth structures within Santaco, increased participation of young people in governance, innovation and business development initiatives, development of mentorship and succession planning programs to prepare the next generation of leaders, promotion of youth participation in technology, digital transformation, transport innovation, and future mobility initiatives, introduction of training programs focusing on entrepreneurship, leadership, governance, compliance, and business management, encouraging youth to participate meaningfully in broader transport economy and related value chain opportunities. The conference further recognized that the long-term sustainability of the taxi industry depends on empowering young leaders who are capable of adapting to technological advancement, modernization, and changing transport dynamics. Inclusion of people living with disabilities. The policy conference further resolved that SANTACO must strengthen its commitment to accessibility, inclusivity, and equal participation for people living with disabilities within the taxi industry. Delegates acknowledge the need to improve transport accessibility, representation, and participation for persons with disabilities as both commuters and industry participants. The conference resolved that SANTACO should promote policies aimed at improving accessibility and inclusivity within public transport services. People living with disabilities must be represented within organizational structures and transformation programs. The industry should work collaboratively with government and stakeholders to improve accessible transport services and infrastructures. Training and awareness programs should be implemented to promote dignity, inclusion, and non-discrimination within the industry. Future policy and constitutional reforms should deliberately incorporate disability inclusion measures and protections. The conference reaffirmed that, in conclusion, transformation within the taxi industry cannot be achieved without the meaningful inclusion of women, youth, and people living with disabilities in governance, leadership, policy development, and economic participation. Delegates therefore committed to advancing a more inclusive, united, and developmental public transport industry aligned with the broader transformation objectives of SANTACO and South Africa. So is Secretary's report. Program Director.
Thank you very much. Sihle, please come to the fore and help me. We're going to take the questions. Come to the fore. Come. Can we give the Secretary another round of applause? So the nature of a Secretariat report is that it then makes provision, just hold on to the roving mic, it makes provision for there to be questions asked. So by show of hands, do we have any questions for the Secretary's report? Do you have, please come to me, Mama, so that we capture the camera people. They want to see you. Sihle will hold, she's just gonna come here so that the camera can have her in short. As Mama comes to the fore, does anyone else have a question for the Secretary's report? Anyone else? Going once? Going twice? Gwang. Okay, so please come give Mama the mic. Mama, you introduce yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, good evening. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nobashe Makabi from the Eastern Cape. It's only one thing, Secretary, just one thing to rectify on under a state of provinces, where you read saying that the Eastern Cape will not participate, will not be part of the conference. So I want that to be clear and to be recorded, that the Eastern Cape is part of this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Fortunately, that has been resolved. And when the report was written, it was by them. Yes, please. Thank you very much, but it has been resolved by President. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ma. Can we see who's moving for the adoption of the program? Show of hands. Who's moving for the adoption? Please come to me, Mama. As you come, do we have a seconder? They'll just come to you. Anyone to second the adoption of the... Come to me quickly. I'm sorry that I have to bring you here. It's because of the camera, so that we have you in shot. At home, they must see that you have adopted the program of the AGM. Is that a hand? Is there a question, or are you adopting? Adopting. Come to me. Yeah, the more the merrier. Ma, please introduce yourself.
Northwest. Manamela, Northwest Province, adopt Secretary report.
My name is Rosie Dumedi. I second it.
We didn't hear you. Again?
You alone. My name is Rosie Dumedi. I second it.
Thank you. Ma, I know, just because you're already here, she's already here, so let's, yeah.
Good afternoon, ladies. My name is Rejoice Sokaka. I'm also seconding the Secretary's report.
Thank you, Mami. Thank you. That then means that the Secretary's report has been duly adopted. Okay. Thank you very much. Can we move to the Treasurer's report now? Let's give Masrepa another warm round of applause, please.
Thank you very much, Program Director. I greetings you once more in the name of mighty Jesus Christ. I'm here to represent you the Treasurer's report. The money, Introduction. The Treasurer's report provided a comprehensive overview of the financial position, operational realities, and sustainability challenges experienced by Santaco women during the term under view. The financial realities experienced throughout the term reflected broader structural challenges relating to the absence of dedicated funding mechanisms, limited institutional budgeting, and the lack of ring-fenced financial support for women-specific program and development initiative. These financial constraints affected the pace of implementation of strategic objectives and limited the organization's ability to fully operational key program relating to empowerment, training, outreach, and economic participation. Financial overview, in bracket,
2022 up to 2025. During the period under review, no dedicated or ring-fenced budget allocated was formally approved to the implementation of women-specific program, projects, or operational activities at national, provincial, region, or local levels. As a result, the implementation of 2022 up to 2025 Women Strategy and Program of Action was significantly affected by financial limitations and the absence of dedicated operational support structures. The reporting period further highlights the urgent need for the sustainable funding model capable of supporting the long-term institutional growth and operation sustainability of SANTACO human structures nationally. Challenges experienced. The absence of a dedicated program budget remain one of the most significant institutional challenges experienced during the term under review. The lack of financial support restricted the implementation of strategic projects and limited the organization's ability to fully release the objective outlined in the year 2022 up to 2025 Women's Strategy. Provincial structures were frequently compelled to rely on limited internal support, voluntary contributions, local association and external stakeholders to implement programs and sustain organizational activities. This creates uneven implementation across provinces, with some provinces unable to execute planned activities due to the limitation of the resource constraint. Despite this challenge, the organization continued to function through the commitment, sacrifice, and dedication of women leadership and provincial structures who remain committed to advancing the program of women empowerment within the taxi industry. To strengthen SANTACO women in the next step, a dedicated and reinforced annual budget should be approved and institutional at national level. This will ensure that women empowerment program training, outreach, government activities, and enterprise development initiatives are properly funded and implemented. The SANTACO Women Program of Action should also be fully integrated into the broader SANTACO budgeting and operational planning framework. This will improve alignment, accountability, and institutional support, while ensuring that women programs are treated as part of the organization's core work and not as separate or secondary activities. A financial subcommittee should be established to support financial planning, proposal development, fundraising, donor engagement, resource mobilization, and monitoring of program expectation. The structure will help strengthen financial discipline and improve the sustainability of women-focusing programs. The incoming administration should prioritize income-generating projects linked to the transport value chain, including opportunities in space, upholstery, training, maintenance, cooperative, and other warm-led enterprises. This project will help build long-term financial independence and economic participation for women in the taxi industry. Strategic partnership must also be strengthened with government, department, municipality, development finance institution, sectors training institution, private sector stakeholders, and women empowerment agencies. This partnership will be essential for unlocking funding, training, enterprise development, and institutional support. The conclusion: the incoming term presents an important opportunity to move SANTACO women from commitment to implementation. With dedicated budgeting, stronger planning, strategic partnership, and sustainable incoming generation program, SANTACO women can become a stronger, financially sustainable, and development-oriented structure that advances women in leadership, economic empowerment, and meaningful transformation within the taxi industry. I thank you.
Let's clap hands for her again. Okay, do we have any questions for the treasurer? Nothing. Come to me, Mama. There's a hand there. Come to me. No. Come to me. Oh, with a beautiful jacket. It's very beautiful. Let's clap hands for her. Yay.
Ms. Lailo, you mentioned something about the financial constraint that limited the implementation of certain programs. And according to you, do you believe, because actually we are moving forward now with the new administration, this new administration, will they be able to bring an improvement where the previous administration couldn't.
Thank you very much. In our several discussions, there were a promise of this leadership of coming. Okay. We are going to look at the meetings more national. More voka roha ka mudi ka taba ya funding. Wo e ba le di promises. Ja hore re tlo ba ra fita mo re yang hona. And then I believe and agree that the leadership that is coming in, they will recognize them mostly. And then the president told you that, even our chairperson told you that the leadership that is coming, they must take this thing forward. Meaning that, Batlono Badia Kabutu, Bafediche Kadi province of Khetre, and then our provinces recognize you, they will do what is right.
But I'm not satisfied with your answer, me.
Okay.
Can I ask, with the very small power I have as program director, because the questions are rather developmental, can I ask that we have an offliner where it can be engaged, considering your concerns about time, so that we can get started with the program? Is that okay? Thank you. Thank you so much, Mama. Thank you for understanding. Thank you. Can we give the treasurer a round of applause? Thank you, Ma'am. Who move us for adoption of the treasurer's report quickly? Come to me, please come. Mama, can I ask you to please also come and move for the adoption of the treasurer's report? Yes. Okay. But I'm not forcing you, right? Because then they'll say you're comfortable to move for the adoption. Yes. Tell them who you are and that you're moving.
Hi, my name is Nandi Pamloja. I am supporting the treasurer's report. Moving for adoption.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm Mrs. Enin Sokashe. I second it.
Thank you very much. The treasurer's report has duly been adopted. We are going to proceed forth into the electoral process. I'll call the electoral committee shortly to come in. However, I'm going to ask the NEC to please step out. When they come back, we'll also have the electoral committee, and then we'll commence with the program. This means this is the last time I'm speaking to you as well. But I wanted to confirm leadership from CSIR. NEC, you are relieved. You can go. I keep losing your name, and I want the leadership to know who you are. Please just introduce yourself.
Good afternoon or good evening. My name is Lydia Kwange from the CSIR. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we give her a warm round of applause? The CSIR is important. The work they do in terms of research, it's very, very important. So I needed to make sure that they know you are here. Okay, NEC, I've released you. If you don't leave now, I'll say you must sit down. We'll get started shortly. But if there's people who want to go to the bathroom, chair, for 5 minutes, we can go to the bathroom. Let's go to the bathroom. Just literally 5 minutes, as we allow the electoral committee to step in, and then we'll get started with the electoral process. All righty.
Pagamani, Pagamani makoskazi ikesa, ikesa. Pagamani, Pagaman makoskazi ikesa, ikesa. Pagamani, Pagamani makoskazi ikesa. Unity, makoskazi ikesa. Unity, makoskazi ikesa. Unity, makoskazi ikesa. Oh, unity, makoskazi ikesa. Oh, unity, makoskazi ikesa. Pagamani, oh Pagamani makoskazi ikesa. Oh Pagamani, oh Pagamani makoskazi ikesa. Unity, makoskazi ikesa. Santa Kia sedenzelwa, halala ia seten. Santa Kia sedenzelwa, halala au sedenzelwa, sedelezwa, au hala, oh hala, au tani mahala, halala, yes au tani mahala, halala, yes oh halala, 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 oh halala, 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 sebe, takaya sebe leswa, halala, takaya sebe leswa, halala. Halala, hauseni mahala, halala, Santa Kaya sebelela, halala, Santa Kaya sebelela, halala, oh halala. Auseni mahala, kuyasetenza lapha, halala, halala.
Sanmonani, good afternoon, Bomama. Ninjani. Hi, at least nisakula. Energy sasekhona. Let's do this, Gqibe. Yes, once and for all. So, ladies, once again, thank you so much for your patience. As you know, there have been a lot of processes. We've been really trying to hold this thing. It's our first election, Singabo Mama. And we can see that the journey is not easy, but the important thing is that it's happening. So a round of applause for Mama. What we got here? Please, let's at least celebrate that, even though the road is not easy. So we are coming now to a point where, as the electoral committee, we are now going to stand down the NEC. And then after that, I will hand over to the EISA, which will now take over and explain the process. So on that, Bomama, just to say that today is historical, obviously, for Tina Omama, first ever elections for us to get here. So as we prepare for the next leadership to come in, let's take this opportunity to acknowledge, appreciate, and thank all the NEC members who have kept this organization going. President said earlier it was not easy. Using your money, sweat, tears, fighting. Mantul, siyazi indlela, sibuye kudeni, saselana namanje. Kicking and boxing, we come a long way. It has not been easy, and indlela isasend. So the journey has not been without challenges, but meaningful progress has been made to strengthen our voice in this industry. Once upon a time, 20 years ago, we would not have been allowed to convene like this as women. So we are appreciative of that. So in accordance with the SANTACOWD processes and electoral procedures, we have amongst us an independent electoral body who is going to explain to us to make sure that everything is fair and transparent all till the end. So on that note, because now we have someone holding the fort in terms of this institution that is independent, it is hereby my prerogative on behalf of the elections committee to then thank the current NEC and stand them down, and they are hereby formally dissolved with immediate effect. Round of applause to thank them, please. So as of right now, immediately, I am now handing over to the electoral process. She will introduce herself. They will oversee all the procedures. Where they are not sure about any SANTACOWD governance processes, they will be coming to us for assistance. And once again, NEC, ex-NEC, thank you for your service. God be with you. I thank you.
Good evening, SANTACOWD women leaders,
in business. My name is Crystal Africa, and I represent ISA. We are grateful for the appointment to manage the election of your national office bearers at your inaugural elections. I'm informed that it is indeed the first election for women leadership in SANTACOWD countrywide. ISA was informed that there are 7 provinces present who will participate in the elections. The Western Cape and Free State are not participating in the elections. And then also including in the elections are the SANTACOWD affiliates. There are 47 voting delegates, including plus the 13 outgoing national office bearers. My understanding is that you have signed the attendance register. This will serve as the voter's roll when you proceed to vote for your national office bearers. Before, I just had an indication not everyone signed. Is there a need for us to circulate and just ensure that we've got all voting delegates on the register? Thank you so much. I think they showed. Before you proceed to voting, we must conclude your nominations process. You are nominating 9 positions. You will be voting and electing 9 positions. Chairperson, Deputy Chairperson, Secretary, Deputy Secretary, Treasurer, Public Relations Officer, PRO, National Organizer, National Project Coordinator, and National Training Officer. So this is how your nominations will unfold. ISA was informed that every member is entitled to collect a nomination form from the ISA desk. We are based outside, just in the room opposite. Our banner is outside the door. You can't miss us. So each member is entitled to collect nomination forms for the 9 positions that you will be voting for. So if you collect the form, you are the nominator. Then you must include the name of the nominee. That is the person, for example, you would like to be your chairperson or secretary or treasurer. That person's name you write under the heading nominee. Then you'll have to move around and find somebody to support your nomination. Remember, for the nomination to be valid, it must be supported by a nominator and a seconder. Then the nominee, the person you want as your treasurer, must also sign acceptance. So you must also find that person and check with the person, are you willing to stand for the position of treasurer? Can we put your name down? The person may say yes, or the person may say, no, I'm not interested, I'm declining, and then the person will complete the form accordingly. Then all the forms must be returned to ISA desk, to the same office where you collect it from. You must return all the forms. Now, because you must still vote, you must still go to the voting station, we are running against time and we need to agree on a cut-off time for the nominations process. After you've submitted the forms, the Electoral Committee and ISA must still do the verification exercise. In other words, we must still verify and check whether the nominees are indeed persons that can be nominated and that can be elected. So the time now is 25 to 6. 17 hours 35. 25 to 6. Can we close nominations at 10 past 6? It means you would have collected, you would here amongst yourself have completed the form, and then you need to return the form, because remember, we must still prepare ballot papers. Is that a hand at the back? If you can kindly rise. Do we have a microphone on the floor? I note your hand. I'll come to you. There's just a hand at the back. Do we have a microphone on the floor? Which was the first hand? Which was at the back. At the back. Ladies, if we can kindly have silence so that we can hear the question or the comment.
Good evening, ladies. My name is Sihle. I'm from KZN. I just want to thank you for clarifying that, what you just said now. But I'm a little bit confused because initially we were supposed to have a meeting before this conference. So we never got to get the chance where we're supposed to sort out some nitty-gritties that we're supposed to pass before we actually do the voting. So now you just told us that we need to get the forms, the nomination forms, and in another place and send them to another place, of which we don't even know the eligible people that are supposed to vote. How did you verify that the people in this place are actually eligible to vote? And then we need the process to be transparent, because this is actually very important to us. We can't be going to another room for something that's supposed to happen here and end here. Thank you.
Thank you. So the question is, why must delegates collect nomination forms from the ISA room, which is next door? Does that indicate that the process must happen here? Does it mean somebody must rise and nominate? Does it mean you must get the forms here? Can we please get the mic back to the lady? We are just trying to understand the process.
According to my understanding, you guys are professional electoral people. You know the processes that you're supposed to follow. We cannot be teaching you how to do your job. So basically, you know what you're supposed to do when it's elections. It's as simple as that.
Okay, so you are quite right. We know what we are supposed to be doing with elections. This brief we received from our client, which is SANTACO.
Who is the client?
We received the brief from SANTACO. So we cannot arrive and then indicate how elections must be done for a client. There's normally a constitution and election rules and guidelines. Those guidelines is shared with us, and then we must implement it.
With all due respect, ma'am, we as the women here are the SANTACO. So we don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so at this point, as we are externally appointed, I'm going to hand over to the electoral committee. So remember, we report. We are appointed and we report. So we cannot arrive with our own rules and how things must be done. So what I've just shared with you, we received an indication that this is how it must unfold, and we've prepared accordingly. So I'm going to hand over so that maybe the House can have a discussion in terms of how best to proceed. Okay. And then that decision will be conveyed to us, whatever the decision is, and we will then move forward with that. There was another hand here. It's right in front. He is coming.
Thank you so much, IEC. I just want to know, were you not going to let us do the rules in the House as we are going to vote? Maybe we understand each other. How are we going to do it? That is the first thing. And the second thing I'm thinking of, maybe since you've got the list of the delegates, I think when you're collecting the forms, let us collect them according to the list that we signed from the provinces, so that we don't get someone that is not on the list that took the form. Thank you.
Okay, ladies, once again. So at least this process, as we are walking, please can I then explain the one thing about who we are as SANTACO women. SANTACO women is not a separate structure from SANTACO. Do we agree? SANTACO is not a separate structure. It means we are a child of SANTACO. The SANTACO constitution applies to us. The only difference we had is something called a SANTACO Women Desk Policy, which I will show you now. Most of you in the room, I'm sure, because of how we work as SANTACO, maybe might not have seen it. This is the document that, please can we settle down? This is the document that gave birth to SANTACO women. And this document was passed at MENCO to then be the document that talks to how we work here at SANTACO. And in this document, when you read it, it says that even as a woman's structure, we will follow the constitution of SANTACO. We also say that we will abide by all rules of SANTACO and policies, including but not limited to the SANTACO elections policy of March 2017, which gives us the guidelines of how to conduct elections. These are the documents, you can see I've picked them here, that we have given to the electoral body in the presence of the SG, who in terms of clause 20 is the chief administrator of SANTACO, as well as what we call the constitutional custodian. So everything we are doing here, we are doing in terms of the constitution. The MENCO of women, which met on the 9th of April 2025, when MENCO was still MENCO, they then had to decide and talk about these elections. And that same process is the same process that is happening with the mainstream. To say MENCO sits down and decides how the elections are going to go. Why? Because as women in the entire South Africa cannot be pulling away from each other. We have to have leadership who decide how processes should unfold. So as we sit here, there were policies that were passed in that MENCO meeting that decided how these elections would go. And obviously, since that time, as of this morning, some things have changed, including the process that we saw unfolding this morning to say, let's do the sisterhood thing, let's be together. And as the elections committee, you would understand that we are not an electoral body. Our responsibility was to work with the electoral body, give them the rules, and they follow best as we can this document. But I'll be very honest, leadership. This document is almost 20 years old, just like our constitution. There's a lot of gaps that are there. So what the president asked for is to say, if we are in doubt as to what we should do, we should follow the same rules that the mainstream is going to follow. Am I clear, ma'am? If we are in doubt, singama SANTACO, we have to follow what SANTACO is doing, meaning that we cannot really come up with our own rules unless this conference really in a majority decides otherwise. But we cannot divert from what the mainstream is doing. But the president this morning allowed us and said he's putting down his president hat and he's putting his pastor hat. Have a heart and feel for the women who came all the way and because of processes that have happened in the name of sisterhood. So we are asking Bomama to say, in the sake of progress, let us have one voice. What the lady is proceeding, Crystal is preparing here, is what she has read in the documents and as per consultation in our presence together with the Secretary General. But I think before I hand over back to her, I just want to make sure that I think there are two issues that I had. The first one is the issue of the register, right? So you saw us running around. So we are making sure that this register has 7 names who are delegates to the conference. 7 names to the conference. For instance, there was one, I'll give you an example, Mpumalanga. Mpumalanga had 8 delegates, right? But because Mpumalanga and all the other provinces technically in the past were presented at national, the name of Manana should not be on this list. Should not, why? Because she's sitting at NEC. So I understand. And if you are sitting in that position, we go to clause 3.3 of the elections working document. That talks to you being relinquished when elections come. It says when elections come, if you are holding a position at NEC, as NOB, as we'll see, you will step down like the ladies have done. But it then says you become a delegate of the conference. And the documents at SANTACO, they are very difficult to get hold of. Clause 3.3, it says that. So we have going and we have been removing the NEC people here because with them here, they are then sitting with 8 delegates, which cannot be. Because it means they were sitting the whole day short of 1, but they were not short of 1. Mpumalanga sent 7 delegates as asked, but one of their delegates is sitting at national as NEC. They have now stepped down. They then become a delegate of the conference. And Mama, this I can confidently tell you, it was passed at the resolution last Thursday by our highest structure. But in Kalasing debate, isebenza kanjalo. Siyacela ukuthi isebenze kanjalo, Mama, because it was passed. If we want us to verify, we can call the SG to come and just verify that. But we don't want to every time we've got a problem. We say we are independent, but once in a while, we are going to the men. So that's why these people will have their NEC list. They are now ordinary delegates to the conference who, if they are available, can be nominated and vote. In according to our election documents, because it was seen with the constitution. So in 2017, which now that document is very old, but we are still using it. It still applies. Menko said, was there another question I have not attended to, Mam Nobashe?
No, it was just the list, but when you collecting the forms, let us use the list.
Okay, and I think the best thing is as you are collecting, can we read out? Okay, and Umam Crystal had not completed. We are making sure that we are transparent. One, they are independent, but they're going to also make sure that every province in an observer. Ubona ukuthi yonke into ehambayo injani? I-right. Siyavumelana? Yes. Noma besho nje ukuthi abantu bayatrikana, hayi cha. They have put that in place to make sure ukuthi there are no backdoor or any other business that is happening. Any other questions? Yebo sis, unay mic? Besicela mic. And what I will ask, just to do the last verification, please, can we have the secretaries of every province and affiliate come to the front to check the names that are here so that we don't make a mistake. Secretaries, Mamna Bashe, at least I know you. Yagbona. KZN, Bestelu Secretary Nopala. Limpopo. Okay, we will. As we're doing that, we're just running out of time. Please, can we have the question?
Can I proceed? Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for clarifying that point 3.3. However, I'm a little bit not sure exactly if you said it all correctly. Because according to the 3.3, it says all present executive members in all these structures are delegates to the various conference and, if eligible, can stand for elections. So now I'm talking about that if eligible. How do you know that one is eligible to vote? And then my second point, initially with this document, the new elective document for women, it actually worked in KZN. I think we are the only ones that actually used it. So now, with what we're instructed to do, we're supposed to do 7 positions that were supposed to be elected. And then the rest were co-opted. So now, I hear that we're gonna have 9 positions. How are we working out this 9? Because the people that are here, there are 7 people per province, and then the guys, our fellow sisters were co-opted, of which they were not voted for. What I'm talking about our sisters, the Miti taxi people, and the scholar transport. So now today, how are they going to get the right to vote when they were not initially voted in?
Okay, I'll start with 3.3. Ngala, please, with 3.3, sing debate. I am giving it as it is. Ngambizu SG. So we're not debating. Ngala sing I'm to 3.3 because they said leave it as it is. No second deputy president. No, ngala swabize again. Yes, and it's sad because yes, and it's sad because it means us as the committee and Okay, at least Nana's in a conference we can vote by provinces. Can we do that? Yes. Provinces about it's the OSG as a clarifier 3.3. Okay. All right. 3.3. It was debated at length. But leave it as it is. But the resolution is that those people in leadership become delegates. We can call them, but like I said, The conference is saying no. It doesn't say that, and the MENCO said they can. That's why I'm saying, if this is a debate, we don't mind calling MENCO. That's how it works. I'll give you an example. Our president, David, can I give you an example? The example, guys. Bomam, saying this and visa, guys. President, for instance, right? He'll be sitting at the conference with Nani, the NOB. My Swapaya, because he's not sitting there as Gauteng. Usheli as NOB. My Swapa, he comes this side and he becomes a delegate who can be nominated from the floor. Only case at NIVUM. Yes. Can I see provinces? And a province or the delegate. Abayivumai, just one. Abavumuti 3.3 is as it is. Muntia nominator because they're on the floor. 1, 2. Nice. Skalubona ngithe usihlalo o chairperson. Kube yibona abasukumsana. When u chairperson akekho o nangu. 1 chairperson Northwest. Mpumalanga. Mpumalanga, Eastern Cape, Free State, but deputy? Oh, sorry, Northwest, Chair, Northwest Chairperson. Yeah, conflicted, but someone, Secretary. Okay, that's 3. Limpopo. Okay, so KZN is we are talking about clause 3.3. That says when a person was sitting in leadership and they now step down, because you've not at that point a delegate from your province, because you are sitting at the NOB, you come to the floor, you become a delegate who is voting and can be nominated. So we are saying, KZN was saying no, so we said, want to see by the majority of provinces to say we are proceeding like that, because that's what MENCO said. Yeah, ma'am. It was on Thursday. Yes.
Sorry.
I'm voting, because some says 4. Who didn't I call out? Northern Cape? 5. No, I just want to see. Remember, guys, the conference is about majority vote as women, because we can never agree on everything. That's the honest truth. None of us, Zobona, but we go with majority. Like today, the person winning is winning with majority. Yes. Gauteng? Chairperson? Yes. You are here. Okay. Are you with this MENCO decision? Which I said, guys, we can't even reverse it. Are you in or out, Gauteng? But it's now we already have 5 out of 7. And I'm going to debate MENCO because Sesi is structure on our own SC going against MENCO.
Okay, I would like to know when was the MENCO meeting?
It was Thursday, ma'am.
Okay, it was Thursday, and we were not there, and we haven't been informed about the resolutions that were taken in the MENCO meeting.
No, Mama, we are never involved in a MENCO. None of us here, we follow resolutions because we are leaders.
But
so we are
saying we haven't been informed.
Okay, so should we call them?
Yes, please. And also, yes, please. Yes.
Okay, as women, did you see the majority in whom?
No, majority. Now we are not satisfied.
But
because,
okay.
Sorry, ma'am.
Okay, let's calm down. Must calm it down.
Sorry.
So nothing angeke sihambe majority. It means ukuthi umuntu one less angawina.
Sorry,
because sorry, Mama, and because I've been given this difficult job, I also have to, at some point, make difficult decisions for us to proceed. You are not. We now have a majority saying Maskubeni, and we only have one province. I see kukuncindizelwa ukuthi I majority say khulumile as when we are going to vote.
Sorry, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. Sorry, Sis Nobahle. You see, okay, Sis Nobahle.
Yes.
KZN has been to this situation. That's why we would like to know more about this. We would like to get clarity because in KZN we've been in this issue. And there is a court ruling about this issue.
But the court ruling is not for national as women. It's not for national. In balancing a bit complicated. The court ruling, it is a KZN, and if we are then an organization of court ruling, must the court give us those bambela elections?
No, we would like you said we can call SG or anyone
but that
else.
Was before. We had the majority. We had the majority. Echo, you would must kuben. Galan skube bo mam. Galan skube. And the rule from now on is that majority wins. And you say voter. Oh, we need win majority. Full stop. Akho muntu ozoba na less vote ozathi uyangena uyancindizelo. Transparent. The conference is a conference by majority vote. So, Nkela, please, in my capacity as this elections committee, to say the majority house has spoken. Nkela skubebo ma'am. On that note, knowing Utibapete the rules of the elections, can we let the expert guide us? The first thing in Zegayo, we are having what we call a secret ballot. So I understand? Meaning ukuthi the nomination yakho izoba njani? Izoba uwezenzela kwa wena nomination. But kumele kube neseconda, yikho nomination enganantoni? Enganaseconda. So ngabantu obathembayo kwa wena. Crystal says it takes about 30 minutes. You write your nomination, uzelana kusisinabahle, seconder, and then they are going to go count the nominations. And the majority will use a threshold. Obviously, magune position A1, and abantu maybe at 10, lo munyabe 1. It's the 2 that are contesting. Says this? Yes. Say vote la no association. Lay processes hamba ngayo kuma association. Ngicela singayicomplicate. And we have said that every one of you are going to observe. Nizothumela umuntu ukuthi abe observer. Mayikhoyo, if there's something that's not going well, sikhona ku elected committee, we have to deal with it. Kunjalo. Ngicela niqhube. Thank you. Can we go on for now? Sorry.
Thank you, Chair of the session. Delegates, at this point, ISA will ensure that only those who sign the register will collect nomination forms. Just a word of advice. When you put a name forward to represent you as chairperson or treasurer or secretary, please make sure that person sign the form, acceptance.
Thank you very much, the acceptance is going to be done when that particular person is accepting. Because a challenge will be, right now you're talking about a secret. Immediately I show the next person, it's no more secret. That's where the problem will come. So I am going to write what I write, put it in the box, and then you count the names or accordingly to say this is 10, what, and then you call the people, those people who will be contesting. Then whichever the person accepts or decline, then that's how we do it. Otherwise, if you can take it this way, really say no one will vote for anyone. The industry is different from other sectors.
Okay,
thank you.
Majority, can you see by vote of hands in the memory? Okay, so we are going to do nominations. The second man got the con. Second man, Master Kadil. Second man. Okay. No, that's fine. We will nominate. Yeah. We are going to nominate. There's a hand at the back. We are going to nominate. Mike. Because it's a secret. So we're doing nominations, then they go and count. Thank you. Can we start with the names? Yes. No. I'm waiting for the question, Carl.
Good afternoon, ladies. So my name is Sibuyi Lengobo from KZN. Before we nominating, I just wanted a little bit of clarity that how many people that are expected to vote or how many people that are in this room before we start voting. Why I'm asking, because I see that there is other people that from APEC structure, and then the president told us that they are not ready to go for election because they never went for election. So I just wanted a clarity. How many people that are here in this room, and then how many people that are expected to vote? So how many votes that we are looking for? Thank you.
Okay, let's settle down, Bo Mama. Let's settle down. Okay, so I think the issue that she's asking. Okay, so the issue that's coming out is that issue, president of sisterhood. So I think let's deal with it. President president sisterhood. What did he say about sisterhood? I just want to say something. Yeah, Sis Nabahle?
Let us welcome